Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It's V, the Grill Economist. I'm flying solo today. A lot of things to cover. I was initially going to take this onto the Patreon and discuss it there with my Patreon people. Um, Yesterday was a massive wake up call. For those that don't know, my business partner for the last several years, since we were Rogue Money and we converted into Rogue News, has been my buddy Matt, also known as Kung Fu. And Matt is, somebody who is, has a very deep background in Silicon Valley. I mean, this guy's got, high level people in some major big tech companies on speed dial. And what we witnessed yesterday with the takedown of of the um, the W interview was something that we've never witnessed on this channel or on any other channel ever before. The links are in the description box. For those of you who want to go check it out, we've opened up a BitChute account. The link is right there. Just go to BitChute right there. The link is in the description box. Go listen to the whole entire W thing. We weren't able to finish it up, but at least all of it was there. And I believe that he was cut out as soon as he started mentioning uh, paid actors, as soon as he started mentioning Odumbo, as soon as he started mentioning Valerie Jarrett, the entire feed was cut, taken down, ripped apart by YouTube. When it was taken down, because we're using a streaming service, a third-party streaming service that helps us to stream, this was also being recorded. So we were able to salvage about 1 hour and 47 minutes worth of that interview. The interview would have been 2.5 hours total, and we just couldn't pick up where we left off. It kind of, screws up the entire flow, so to speak. Um, this was Yeah, I think W was probably taken down by whatever AI algorithms they have running on YouTube. It was incredible. I mean, literally, the whole thing was taken down and the entire video was erased. It's gone. It does not exist on YouTube anymore. It is gone. If you want to watch it, if you want to see it, there's links in the description box. There's 3 ways of seeing it. For Patreon members, it's on Patreon. And look, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if there's at least a couple of thousand of you that daily come through this channel and you don't subscribe, I ask that you subscribe. Number one. Number two, there's a couple of thousand of you that daily go through this. Join the Patreon, join the BitChute. Okay, we're going to be in both places. The Patreon is super exclusive because I bring a lot of things that I can't say anywhere else directly to the Patreon, and I offer very, very specific opportunities and perspectives over at the Patreon over there. There's a lot of things happening. And this is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is probably the most depressing summer of my entire life. I mean, I'm not depressed, I'm fine. But in terms of when I look at the world and I'm seeing what's happening here, it's incredible. I've said it for years. Many experts have said it for years that the balkanization, the ideological balkanization of America is going to be the undoing of us as a nation. And for many decades, we've had the far left ideological necrophiliacs, okay? Ideological necrophiliacs that have literally created the most vile, inane dogmas, and they've literally radicalized those who are already radical. And that is what you're seeing right now in Seattle, where they have this. They're basically, it might as well be a country. I'm waiting for the UN to show up. I'm waiting for the UN to give them some sort of a, global recognition and to give them their own flag at this point. The council people of Seattle has already said, oh, you know what, we don't want to give this area back to police. We just want to keep it in the hands of the community. This is an interesting, um, it's an interesting proposition. It's a damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Now, what is the purpose of this? This whole Seattle thing is going to radicalize it's going to literally create fury within the 0.04% of the population that are into this extreme far leftist Marxist ideology. So they're literally laying down the gauntlet. If this, Capitol Hill, they're calling it Chaz, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, right? The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, if they literally are going to let that exist, you better bet your bottom dollar that you're going to see an autonomous zone pop up, perhaps in Manhattan, perhaps in Brooklyn. Maybe I don't know so much about the Bronx. The Bronx is its own unique animal, but I can see it in Queens. It is bound, definitely in Manhattan. I could definitely see some libtards getting together in some gentrified areas of Brooklyn as well, creating an autonomous zone. I can see this happening in LA. I can see this happening in Houston. You can start seeing this happening all over the country in large Democrat controlled cities. And now I'm looking at this whole entire thing where people are literally rioting for the hell of it. There are a lot of rioters that don't even know who George Floyd was. Never even heard of the guy, never even heard of the story. But because we have a generation of people that have been on the dole, we have a generation of people that have been constantly on the bottom end of the spectrum, and happily so, because they quote unquote have a hustle. They have a hustle. And this is why I always tell people, listen, once you get to the middle class, you better figure out real quick how to get out, because the middle class is somebody who is screwed by both the wealthy on top and the poor on the bottom. Because the wealthy on top have a hustle, the poor on the bottom also have a hustle. The middle class is the sucker. He has no hustle. And so I'm looking at all the data that's coming out, and the Dow dumped 1,200, 1,600 points the other day because of the fears of a second wave. There's no damn second wave. If you notice, folks, it's all the news that are coming out is, oh my God, there are more cases, more cases. I don't care about the cases. The cases are BS, because in the sense of you have testing that causes an 80% false positive. But one of the things I said is that you're going to have a stratospherically high Dow in relation to an economic body, body that's been completely dilapidated. That's where we are. That's where we are. I'm speaking to all of you with a very heavy heart. Very heavy heart. And now it's like, we need to come to some sort of a term, some sort of a conclusion, some sort of logic at this point needs to prevail. And I'm not talking to the libtards. I can care less. They have no logic. They're fueled by emotion. I think right now the city council of Seattle is trying to figure out how to airdrop, utilizing drones, airdropping soy products and vegan meals into the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, also known as Chaz. Okay, so I can care less about those people. Well, who I want to talk to right now is us. It's freedom-loving Americans. And you could be a liberal and be a freedom-loving American. You could be a conservative and be a freedom-loving American. You could be a libertarian and be a freedom-loving American, possibly even more so freedom-loving. But at the end of the day, I'm talking to people that understand what civil society is. I'm talking to people that understand that when you start losing dialogue, right? When you start losing dialogue, and when dialogue is dead in the street, you have what will occur as a systemic political paralysis. You will have a systemic political paralysis, because discourse and communication cannot function. And when dialogue and discourse and communication cannot function, guess what does not function as well? Commerce. And when commerce cannot function, you can no longer conduct economies. And when economies cannot function, and you cannot conduct economies, you cannot conduct wars. You cannot conduct governments. You cannot conduct anything. This is where we are. You got to understand how similar. And right now, I think ScrewTube is scrubbing all the videos that are out there of the KGB, the former KGB agent who defected in the 80s and came to the United States and talked about the communist takedown of the United States, which, my God, if you could find that video, go listen to it. It is chillingly prophetic. And it's worth revisiting. It is worth revisiting simply because of the fact that on paper, when you look at us and you look at the Soviet Union, it's eerily similar. You see, folks, the Soviet Union had everything that it needed to fix itself on paper. It had everything that it needed to correct itself on paper. But there was such a roadblock, such a stop, a difficulty in dialogue and expressing ideas. There was corruption from the foundation to the topmost stone. And they couldn't come to any sort of an agreement. And what happened? What happened? They fell. And they fell hard. It's incredible to see this. It's incredible to see this. Look, I'm no supporter of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. I'm no supporter of the systems that they employ in China. And I do admire the strength and the resilience of their people. I admire their resilience. And their system is far from perfect. But one thing that is very true about them is they are always busy getting things done. They are always busy growing. They are always busy trying to seek the empowerment of their influence upon the world. They are busy trying to set themselves up to be a very influential voice in the next century in a massive way. In other words, folks, in spite of all of its problems, in spite of all of its issues, the people and the government at the end of the day are in unity and in moving in unison to get things done. I see the same solidarity in Russia. I see the same solidarity in much of the former Eastern Bloc nations. I see a lot of similarities and solidarity in members of the ASEAN community. Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. They're busy getting things done. Compare that to us in the West. Compare that to us in Europe, United Kingdom, and the United States. Compare that to us. We cannot even come to agreement on biological realities anymore. Can't do it. We cannot come to an agreement on whether or not to use plastic straws, paper straws, recyclable forks. We can't come to any sort of agreement on anything. We have absolutely, I want you to think about this. What is politically possible is not in reality possible. And what's actually possible is not politically possible. In other words, you have deadlock and nothing gets done. Nothing. And I'm looking at this wrecked landscape going into. I remember going into from 2019 going into 2020. I'm like, damn, this is oh my god. The next 4 years is going to be the biggest market boom. I remember. I remember. I remember saying that. I'm like, man, this is going to be the greatest market boom in next 4 years, man. Oh my god. Yes, the market is a bubble. Yes, it's fake. It's fictitious. The numbers aren't real. I know that. But you got to look at it from the eye of an opportunist. I looked at it, I was like, my God, I mean, people that are in trading rooms, people that are trading this market, they're gonna make a killing. People that are in cryptos are gonna make a killing. People that are in metals, they're gonna make a killing. Oh my God, it's exciting. And with the bubble, we could have some sort of a trickle down into the physical economy where we could have some things in place. That was 2019. We hit Dow 29,000. I was celebrating. People were like, V, good job. You called it years ago. Years ago. For everybody else. How many old media guys were like, the market's going to collapse next Tuesday? I'm like, nah, this bad boy's going higher. I said it. W said it. I think Nicholas Ruiz from Evolution Consulting said it. I don't know where he's at, but he nailed it. Dow 29,000. All three of us. So triple confirmation. You want to know? It happened. It bloody damn happened. And now we're in 2020. And I am. There's so much noise that if you concentrate or it's easy to get distracted because there's the noise. And the noise is not so good. Okay? It's not so good. There's still a deep state in action. There's still a bunch of neocons running around. There's still a whole bunch of deep staters and Zionists that are still in the Trump administration. And it beleaguers me on so many levels that here we are in 2020 in a state of utter chaos. And then the market's worried whether COVID's going to come back, whether it's going to go back, this, that, and the other. It is ridiculous, folks. It is ridiculous. So I'm looking at all of this, and the biggest question that I have is, at what point is this no longer optics? At what point can we actually say as Americans, listen, maybe we sat idly by for too long. Maybe we thought that somebody was going to rescue us. Maybe we thought this whole thing is going to play out well, and maybe it will. Maybe it will. But I'm not so sure there's a happy ending in this. I will guarantee you this. You can call me crazy. You can call me a nut job. You can say that I'm literally eating too many CBD edibles. I will say that we will see a market that will run and run hard for the next 4 years. I think we will eclipse Dow 29,000. I think a lot of the job market will be recalled. And I believe that much is true. I don't know exactly if it's even possible to have some sort of an infrastructure development plan going. I'm not so sure. I think we'll have a high market. I think crypto prices are set to explode. I mean, look, Last year alone, guys, I was screaming from the rooftop. I told all my clientele and those who've gotten in on early, they've profited handsomely from it. I said, look, here's the deal. A lot of institutions are coming into the crypto space. A lot of institutions are coming into the crypto space, and one of the institutions, believe me, they're not the biggest holders of BTC. They're really not. Is Grayscale. Grayscale come out. They're like, yeah, we bought 20,000 BTCs in the last quarter alone. Think about it, 20,000 bitcoins the last quarter. It's incredible. Buying it all. I know BTC, crypto is going to do phenomenal. Gold's going to do great. Market's going to be up high. You're going to do well. But there's the chaos, this chaos that we're seeing right now, it's not going away. I had a shitload of notes here, an absolute shitload of notes. I mean, literally notes that I've been complying, data that I've been complying, and I'm looking at my Microsoft OneNote page that I've compiled all of this. I've been putting it together since March 21st of 2020. That's how far back I've started compiling all this data. And I'm talking to you guys right now, and I don't even know where to begin with all this shit. I really don't. I literally don't. I'm literally like all of you at this point. There's a lot of perplexity here. I know the systems. Look, the only guarantee I can give you guys, market's going to run. So get ready for that. But this social chaos, I don't think a Trump victory in 2020 will mean that the left will go. Do you honestly think that the left will go away? The far left? Do you honestly think all of a sudden the lamestream media that have unceasingly stopped demonizing, they unceasingly continue to demonize his president, that they're going to all of a sudden stop? I don't think so. Folks, the stuff that's happened since George Floyd, the stuff that's happening in Seattle, all the riots, the looting, all of this stuff, all the data points linked to one event. Some of you might have forgotten. All the data points, when I trace back data point by data point by data point by data point, it all links back to one event from January the 21st, 2016. That is when Hillary Clinton and her husband, Slick Willie, wearing purple, signifying the Purple Revolution, that this is what's happening. This is part of the Purple Revolution. I've said it back in 2014. CIA, deep state, color revolutions are coming home to roost, and here we are. We're in the thick of it. Run by a fifth column of Marxists. Hillary Clinton and her gaslighting of Russiagate and the criminal complicit media that ran with it, all the data points point to that. The amount of discord that has been sown, the seeds of division that have been placed deep with roots, is not going to magically go away in 2020. And there's a lot of you people out there's a lot of guys out there who think, who literally think there's going to be arrests coming. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that this 176,000 sealed indictments, that's the only thing of this Q thing I can't wish away. I can't explain it. And no one has been able to clearly explain that to me. And I don't have the answer. Why are there 176,000 sealed federal indictments? I have no clue. I'm hoping. Some scary times, folks. Scary, scary times for our nation. Scary times for our country. Some places will be more terrifying than others. I mean, I think people in the surrounding suburbs, I think, will be fine. I don't see anything major happening. But the cities will continue to burn. The policies that the president needs to fix. And here's the thing: there are things that we can do right now. If we can get a physical economy up and running, it will go a great way in inoculating us from the coming economic reset. If we can have a physical economy running where we no longer believe the lie that we're a service-based economy and understand the reality that wealth is created on the factory floor, if we have that in place, then we stand a long way of cushioning ourselves from what is to come. But do you think for 1 second that any one of these congressmen, any one of these senators that are on the far left, who literally cater their poll numbers, their polling, not their poll numbers, but their very polling is not based on any sort of scientific metric. Their polling is based on what's trending on social media. Their polling is based on what is being said on a picket sign and a protest. Do you think these individuals are going to lay down and take it easy? Do you think they are going to go quietly into the night? And here's what I got to look. All of us here that are the libertarian and on the conservative side, we've sat here and we've made fun of and we laughed at these leftists. But you want to know something? You want to know something? I got to give it to them after watching them. They have more balls than we do. They have the will. They have no jobs, most of them. They have no lives, most of them. Most of them haven't even taken a bath in God knows how long. They are fat, disheveled. They walk around unkempt. And yet they have the balls to take 6 city blocks. As weak and as pathetic as they are, these are individuals that could not fight their way out of a paper bag. They could not hit a U.S. Postal Service mailbox at 15 feet with a pistol, but yet they were able to take 6 city blocks. They have balls. They have the will. What the fuck are we doing? Oh, right. We're rage tweeting on Twitter. We're waiting for some mysterious people to come and save us. We're looking at some sort of externality that it's going to come in and save the day. Like what in God's name has happened to us? You understand here, folks, we're literally sitting on the sidelines on our asses watching our very birthright stolen from us. And let me explain something to you. We're giving it away for a bowl of porridge. We're giving it away for nothing. I'm mortified. It's unreal. What's next? The big conversations right now, defund the police. I think there's a right way of doing it and a wrong way. You see, it's so funny. You got these far leftists who want total Marxist anarchy, which if you study Marxism and anarchy, they're completely diametrically opposed. One doesn't go with the other. It's like an oxymoron. I'm a communist anarchist. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Doesn't make any sense. And then on the far right, we worship police, right? The worship of police and the worship of military. And that is why our country's in the fucked up position that it's in. Parlons français. The right way to defund the police is demilitarize the police. Demilitarize the police. When you realize this, folks. There was a meme that was sprouted out throughout the internet. It takes more class, it takes more coursework, more classwork to become a hairdresser or a cosmetologist than it does being a police officer. And that is the case in most cities and towns throughout the United States. That is absolutely true. Defund the police, demilitarize the police. There's no reason Sheriff Billy Bob in West Bumblehoota, Alabama, a town of 1,000 people, has an MRAP that he purchased from the military surplus. It was just given to him. He was paid to take it. An MRAP. There's no reason for SWAT teams. There's no reason for SWAT teams. I can understand in large cities, probably might have it as a counterterrorism. There's no reason for, again, Sheriff Billy Bob in West Bumblehoota, Alabama, with a population of 1,000 people, has a SWAT team with an MRAP. Demilitarize the police. Every police force needs to have a police academy. They need to spend, I don't know, 12, 15, 18 months in training. I believe that. I believe a great deal of police work could be offloaded and decentralized. I believe you could have community neighborhood watches, community patrols with law-abiding, Second Amendment practicing, well-trained citizenry, and where that could be administrated by a local police branch. Defund the police. That's the proper way of doing it. Not demilitarize the police. That's the proper way of doing it. Not just this insanity. It's pure insanity. I mean, I'm out getting a sandwich at my favorite deli, and I see some cops coming in off duty. I'm like, dude, what the hell? They're just like spec ops, wearing Kevlar, camo. Look like they just came off the battlefield in Iraq. They got the whole Delta Force helmet on with the night vision scope attachment. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You in upstate New York, dude. Like, what the hell's going on here? Decentralize the police. Decentralize all of it. I don't. There's so much. Look, folks, this is the trend. If you're going to have any sort of takeaways on this, I mean, look, you've had decades of sanctuary cities. You had welfare programs that when you study the poverty industry, and it's an industry, K Bono, that's a whole other program, right? When you study the welfare programs that create a criminal underclass, look, there's nothing wrong with having a welfare program where you could help somebody. Here's a single mom with some kids. Here's help for 6 months. After 6 months, you got to requalify. Here's another 6 months of help, and here's some job training. Here's what we can do to get you back on your feet. That's awesome. That's great. Giuliani ran something like that in New York City when he was mayor. It was great at getting people off of welfare. It was great at stopping the abuse. That's all gone now. Now you have people who have a hustle. They know what to do with their state benefit cards. They know how to milk the system. They know how to cash in their welfare cards. They know how to do it. It's not difficult at all. So when you have these programs that create a criminal underclass, at worst, or at best, a resentful, easily manipulated underclass. When you couple that with unfettered immigration, with some of the most tyrannical gun laws on the planet, and you usurp total control over city councils and mayoral offices. Then you have decades upon decades of Marxist indoctrination at schools, universities. You have the destruction of the nuclear family. You have fourth wave feminism. You have sowing of racial tension. You have the control of the media. All of this culminates into what we're seeing today. And George Floyd was this perfect excuse needed for all of this to be sprung about. It was a perfect excuse. It could have been any random black man. You know, there was a white guy who was shot to death pleading for his life a few months ago. He was staying at a hotel. He was on a business trip. His work put him up. And I don't know the exact parameters. The guy was unarmed. He was literally crawling on the hospital, I'm sorry, the hotel hallway, pleading for his life when the cop finished and shot him up. The cop gets away scot-free. The cop says he has PTSD and they give him his pension. So he's able to, retire early and keep his pension, even though he can't work as a cop. Yeah. But you'll never hear it because he's white. But white doesn't play into the narrative. Neither if it's Asian. You think it was if the guy's name was George Fu, George Fu instead of George Floyd, you think you'd have some a major uproar? No, nobody would give a rat's ass. Or was it maybe George Ramirez, or Guillermo Ramirez instead of George? You think you'd have the uproar? No, it had to be a black man because it fits the narrative. It doesn't fit the statistics. Because remember, we're in a society that denies biological realities. So who the hell gives a rat's rear end about statistics? It's all about the narrative. As long as they can have any random black man in any state, don't matter if it was in Minnesota, New York, LA, Alaska, Hawaii, nobody cares. As long as it's in a Democrat-controlled Marxist hellhole, that's all that was needed. And what I'm telling you right now, look, the only thing you have going for you right now as an American, if you think the hopes that all of this is going to miraculously change around, I mean, I want to believe that. I really do. I really do believe it. And look, folks, I'd love to eat crow. I'd love to have egg on my face. I really would. The only thing you have going for you, and you better pray to God every night. Dear Lord, precious Heavenly Father, I pray that the Dow stays above 27,000, Lord God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Every day, that better be your prayer. Lord God, I pray that Bitcoin moves to $10,000 per Bitcoin. I pray that we will see $75,000 per Bitcoin, Lord. I pray that. Amen. Lord, I pray for $5,000. You better be playing for every single asset. And you better be buying these assets. You better be trading these assets. You better have an exit plan. What a hellhole. I mean, what is happening, folks, today is unprecedented. I don't know if the Republic will survive. How do I know that? Go ask your average millennial or your Zoomer, your Generation Z, that everybody's saying is the most conservative generation since World War II. Yeah, okay, sure. Go ask them about the Founding Fathers. Go ask them about the Bill of Rights. Go ask them about the Constitution. I guarantee you they don't know nothing. I don't know if the Republic will survive because those who are supposed to be carrying the torch for the Republic, for the next generation, I didn't even know they didn't even know what they're fighting for. Systemic racism, class warfare, Trump, deep state, globalism, wealth disparity, loss of jobs, all of these things, they're all surface pretexts to the bigger picture. The symptomatic fact, folks, of the empire of chaos that I've long been documenting is finally running its course. The nation itself is facing a figurative hemorrhagic virus, and it is liquefying the organs of state. Its currency is no longer wanted. Its foreign policy, at this point, borders on the absurd. Its leaders are lost in the wind, and chaos is now running wild in the very streets. It seems as if karma is a bitch with fangs and claws. Truly remarkable. These narratives have long been printed. They've been put out, bought and paid for, spread, propagated by the media. Fed into a brain dead populace that's divided along the lines of political narratives and ideologies, and that are cleverly and creatively designed to keep the populace duped against the long running agendas that are at work against their best interests. That's folks, when I look at the American population, and I know a lot of you see the same things I do. We see a population that's worse than slaves. We see a population that are worse than slaves. At least the slave knows that he's a slave. At least the slave knows that he or she is someone else's property. The population is simply in a sheep like vegetative state. It's incredible. Civil societies, folks, can only grow when you have dialogue. They can only grow when you have what's universally termed as, quote unquote, the middle class. And this is the demographic strata that carries much of that growth and industry of a wealthy nation and its GDP. The corrupt, criminal, graft filled, rotted elites. Though there was no need for a middle class. And their lust to recreate a few feudalistic, communistic serfdoms, the middle class has to be dismantled. Folks, let me explain something to you. This is why I'm terrified of the long prospect. I'm talking about 5 years, 10 years out. What's happening today is being seeded on the consciousness of the young. It's being seared into the consciousness of the next generation. Those, some of whom will actually be taking seats of responsibility and power in this country. And they, believe me when I say that, they do not share the viewpoints that we do. Civil societies need trusty institutions. Civil societies need trustworthy institutions. First, they need to start with the institution of marriage. That's been destroyed for the most part. It's a joke at this point. The institutions within the United States have been fundamentally gone. They're not looked at with trust. There's no reverence to it. Everything's been exposed. Everything's been a duplicitous scam. Civil societies need culture to thrive and grow. A unifying culture, a shared heritage. Now, for the United States, it's been our Christian values. It's been the unifying documents of the Bible, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. These have all been destroyed by cultural Marxists. And it's been replaced with the unspoken, do what thou wilt. That's the slogan of this generation. Do what thou wilt. Civil societies, they need that economic mobility. They need a middle class. They need trusted institutions. Now, when you look at that, colleges are a scam, marriage is a scam, the families turned out to be a scam. I mean, they've wrecked everything. Civil societies need that economic mobility, trusted institutions, and a unified national culture. That equates to an underlying, unwritten social contract where we rally among each other, and we help each other out, and we look to each other and say, hey, you know what? I don't care about the color of your skin. You're my brother. We're both Americans. Let's go out and let's be epic. Let's make this country awesome. It's terrifying to see that when I look at that, it's not what I'm seeing. Folks, America's collapse began in 2008. And all the data sets I have 900 years of data at my fingertips. And I'm crunching more and more data, and I give it, the data that I have, I share with individuals that are in my circle who run very advanced computer programs and modelings. And America's collapse, I'll tell you right now, began in 2008. I think it'll be complete by 2025. By 2025, it'll be complete. And let me explain something to you. The collapse of the Soviet Union took over at least a decade to play out. At least a decade. Now, at the end of that 2025 period, I don't know what's going to emerge. There's a lot of competing ideas. I don't care what emerges. Let me put it to you that way. I do not care what emerges. Because what's emerging, it seems that the narrative, once again, is being controlled by status. This is why people don't need to be worshiping at the foothill of the Democrats and the Republicrats, two wings on the same damn dragon. If you think our brain dead politicians are the most bottom of the barrel human beings you'll ever encounter are in politics, they're going to come up with solutions that's going to benefit you, you got another thing coming to you. I don't know what's coming, but I do know how to prepare against everything. In light of everything that's been happening, I've been speaking to a good buddy of mine, John Singleton. Some of you guys know him as Mr. X. Some of you guys know him from the Privacy Fight videos that him and I have done together. We're going to be doing seminars, maybe once a month. We're going to show you people, because I think it's time now. I think it's time now. You all figure. It's about time that you all learn how to play the game. I think it's time, because once you're prepared for what is to come, you can weather what is to come. Your wealth is protected, and we need the last missing piece of this puzzle is to make sure your body's protected. We've got some challenges ahead of us, folks. We most certainly do. And I'll tell you guys one thing. Look, I've been on this YouTube thing for quite a while now. I've been doing this, before my own YouTube channel. I've been on, guest on so many shows since 2012. This platform, it's funny. During the whole W interview, we've had about, a little over 300 people on live stream, supposedly. But when the YouTube takedown happened, it flashed across the screen exactly how many people we actually had. We had 1,256 people that we know of that were watching us live when that broadcast was taken down, not 300. And right now, I'm seeing over 300 people on live, but yet YouTube is recording it as 136. You have no idea. And in spite of all the suppression, in spite of all the shadow banning, in spite of all the demonetization, we are still trudging on. We're one of the last few remaining channels here on YouTube that can actually get deep into a lot of stuff. Real numbers, honestly, we should be at 60,000 subs by now. 60 to 70,000. They keep us at 20. Every single view that we do on every interview we do, they cap us at 1,200 views. These people are bastards. So I'm gonna ask all of you, please subscribe to the BitChute channel. Please subscribe to Rogue. We're trying to do some things with some of our partners over at Vimeo and try to do something unique that's going to be in the platform of Rogue itself. And exactly, Rob. It says 135 people shown. It's actually way more than that. And I'm gonna ask that that you also guys support us over at the Patreon as well. But at least the BitChute, man, get over to BitChute. I don't know how this transition is going to go. I mean, we've right now pretty much have really painted a target on our backs with this whole entire thing that has happened with W. But it's all good. We don't care. This platform sucks. I think people need to migrate out of it. I just wished that BitChute had a better platform. Anyway, we're going to be doing some amazing new things. So keep it locked here. I'm just stretching out. And you guys enjoy your weekends. Subscribe, like, comment, share. It helps. Every little bit helps. Get over to the BitChute. Get over to the Patreon. And we'll have some. We got some exciting things planned for you guys. We'll have some new guests. I think we're Friday the 19th. I'm having John McAfee come on. Okay, that's going to be a fun interview. So stay locked and loaded for that. And we're going to be doing some cool things. So with that being said, thank you all for listening in. The seminar, John and I will blast it once we have a date hammered down. We'll tell you exactly how to do it. That seminar, I've been getting a lot of emails on it. It's going to cover everything to how to really bank properly, how to protect your name, how to move money around, how to operate even without a bank, and how to protect yourself from ever being sued. If somebody were to sue you for $10 million, you go laugh at their face. Remember, folks, my motto has always been own nothing but control everything. It's the Rockefeller way, right? Own nothing but control everything. On paper, you have nothing, but you control everything because your hands is in so many assets. My man James says, V, if you do any looting in NYC, need some Gucci size 9.5. James, I definitely will hook you up, bro. No problem. I will smash a Gucci window and grab you some Gucci's, and probably the Omega or the Rolex store. I'll go loot that for you as well. Oh man. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We love you guys. Thank you. You guys are the best audience I could ever ask for. You guys are amazing. Thank you all, and thank you for supporting us on the Patreon. If you haven't done so, just get over to the Patreon. Go there, man. Just go there. Give us some support. Give us a shout out. Links are in the description box. And also, check out our paid sponsors, mycbdedibles.com, mycbdedibles.com. All that other good stuff. And with that being said, this is the Gorilla, and I'm out.